Gentrification and displacement. Gentrification is one of the most discussed and controversial social processes in today's urban world. It refers to the transformation of older or poorer neighborhoods when wealthier people move in, property values rise, and the area begins to change in its appearance, culture, and population. At first glance, gentrification may look like progress, new buildings, cafes, clean parks, and improved safety. However, beneath this surface of improvement lies a deeper issue known as displacement, where long-term residents, often low-income families, are pushed out because they can no longer afford to live in their own communities. To understand gentrification in simple terms, imagine an old neighborhood with small houses, affordable rents, and a strong sense of community. It may not look attractive to outsiders, but it has its own history and identity. When developers or middle-class families discover its potential, they begin to renovate houses, open coffee shops, and invest in infrastructure. Soon, property prices rise, taxes increase, and the cost of living goes up. While the area looks better physically, many original residents struggle to keep up with the rising expenses and are eventually forced to move. This process turns their neighborhood into something unrecognizable. Sociologists study gentrification to understand how urban development affects different social groups. It is not just about buildings, it is about people, culture, and power. Cities grow, and change is natural, but gentrification often happens in a way that benefits the wealthy and harms the poor. Those who have lived in a community for generations suddenly find themselves unwanted in the place they helped build. They lose not only their homes but also their sense of belonging. One of the key reasons gentrification happens is the desire of cities to attract investment. Local governments often encourage development by giving land or tax incentives to private investors. They argue that this creates jobs, improves infrastructure, and makes the city more beautiful. But in practice, these changes usually favor the new, wealthier residents and neglect the needs of the old ones. The social fabric of the neighborhood breaks apart. Small local shops close because they cannot compete with new expensive stores. Traditional gathering spots disappear, and the culture of the area begins to fade away. Displacement, which is the human side of gentrification, takes many forms. Some people are forced to move because their landlords raise the rent or sell the property. Others leave because their neighborhood no longer feels like home. Even those who stay may feel socially displaced, surrounded by people who do not share their background or values. This can cause emotional pain and a deep sense of loss. For many, home is not just a physical space but part of their identity, and losing it means losing a part of themselves. The people most affected by gentrification are usually from working-class backgrounds or minority communities. In many cities, gentrification has racial as well as economic dimensions. For example, in some countries, predominantly black or immigrant neighborhoods have been targeted for redevelopment, leading to the erasure of rich cultural histories. Sociologists and urban planners warn that if gentrification continues unchecked, cities will become more segregated, with the poor pushed to the outskirts and the rich concentrated in the center. There are also psychological effects. When families are displaced, children must change schools, adults lose social networks, and older people face the stress of starting over in unfamiliar surroundings. Community bonds that took decades to build are destroyed within a few years. People who once felt proud of their neighborhood begin to feel powerless, angry, and disconnected. However, gentrification is not always entirely negative. Some argue that it brings investment, better services, and safety to neglected areas. Streets are repaired, schools are renovated, and public transport improves. Yet, these benefits often come after the original residents have already been pushed out. The real question is not whether development is good or bad, but who benefits from it and who pays the price. Sociologists emphasize that gentrification is a reflection of broader inequalities in society. It reveals how economic power and privilege shape urban spaces. Wealthier people can move anywhere and make a place desirable, while poorer people have little control over where they live. It also shows how cultural trends can influence housing. For example, when artists move into cheap neighborhoods, they make the area seem trendy, attracting investors who later drive up prices, a pattern that has repeated in cities like New York, London, and even Karachi. Solutions to gentrification and displacement are not simple. Some cities have tried rent control policies to prevent sudden increases in housing costs. Others promote inclusive development, where new housing projects must include affordable units for low-income residents. Community organizations play an important role in protecting neighborhoods by raising awareness and demanding fair treatment. When residents organize, they can influence city planning and push for development that respects their history and rights. Education and empathy are also crucial. Many newcomers moving into gentrifying neighborhoods do not realize the impact they are having. If more people understood that their presence could contribute to displacement, they might support fair housing policies or invest in local community projects. Urban development should be guided not only by profit but by compassion and equality. In the end, gentrification and displacement remind us that cities are not just made of buildings but of people and memories. A city becomes truly great when it grows without erasing its roots. Development should uplift everyone, not only those who can afford luxury apartments. Every person deserves a home, a community, and a sense of belonging. Understanding gentrification helps us see the hidden social costs behind beautiful streets and shining buildings. It challenges us to imagine a future where progress does not mean exclusion and where every citizen, rich or poor, has a place in the story of the city. If you found this discussion on gentrification and displacement interesting, please like this video, share it with others who care about social issues, and subscribe to my channel. Your support helps me bring more educational and thought-provoking content about sociology, human behavior, and the changing world we live in. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more insights on the forces that shape our societies.